said, oh, well, maybe we need to think about hearing aids. And that was about the time that I met up with you guys.
Really?
That was about the time, yeah.
Well, you came with your other friend.
Scott.
Okay.
Because he started. He was.
You were saying very well. I was like, I thought you were actually born hard of hearing.
No. He was skilled in PSE.
Yeah, he was.
He was fluent in that. He never learned ASL. He never wanted to because he said it was too difficult to understand. He didn't like signing with people with ASL because he couldn't understand the sentence structure. But with my hearing loss, he started teaching me Pidgin. And his story then was, don't worry about learning ASL, just learn Pidgin. People will understand you. So that's where I started learning it, was through him. And then he wanted, because I was having trouble with my receptive skills, he says, we need to get you around deaf people. And that's when he found, on Meetup, he found your group. And so we decided to go, and that's how we ended up there.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, he must have grew up hard of hearing. So that's what...
I had spent a year learning it the best I could, and then that's when I met up with you guys and started doing it more, and then that was when everything else happened, and this year went bad, and I spent, because I was that around 6 months after I met up with you guys is when my hearing started getting worse. That was when I diagnosed with PTSD from the accident, and part of my symptomology from the PTSD was I went deaf in both ears. I had a psychogenic effect to this ear. And they didn't know if my therapist was like, it'll probably come back if we treat you, he says, but I don't know, I can't promise you that. He says, I've known people that have had psychogenic blindness, and their vision never came back because they were so damaged. But it wasn't anything, there was nothing physically wrong with them, their brain just shut it off because of the trauma.
Well, I didn't know that could happen.
Yeah, I had it. I was deaf for a year almost. And I didn't know. I didn't know if I was ever going to hear again. And that was when I really started to dig in deeper and go to all events. And when I was hanging out with you guys more, was when my fear was I'll never hear again. I spent a year and a half on disability because I couldn't work, couldn't hear.
Oh wow.
I was in such a deep depression then because I couldn't hear Holly.
So she would write things?
No. Sometime because I moved back in with Eric, not with him, but I moved back into the condo that we had, and I lived in the loft upstairs.
Oh, okay.
And I stayed up there. I never went anywhere. I lost contact with a bunch of friends because I couldn't hear them, and it was just too hard to try to fit into that world that I didn't fit into anymore.
See, that's what your next video should be about, so people can hear this rawness. Because
are you kidding? I'd be sitting here. I mean, right now I'm actually
but that's what people need to see, because they need to understand what it's like for a family member to be going from totally hearing in a hearing or the hard of hearing. Like, there's people that need to understand, like, oh my gosh, is that the reason why my daughter is feeling depressed? Maybe I need to do something. Maybe watching your video will make them connect to them and be like, I understand now. I get it. Let's do this together, and that so you won't feel so alone. Like, people need to hear that and see that.
Maybe.
We'll have tissue.